Swope, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Adam Simon.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson. Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Commissioner Dowd.
Here.
Commissioner Jeffries.
Here.
Commissioner Lopez.
Present.
Commissioner Cooey.
Present.
Commissioner Washington. All right, there's 7 members present, a quorum. I'm sorry, 7 members present, a quorum. Commissioners Anderson and Washington are absent.
Thank you. Motion be in order to adopt the agenda. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it is approved. Motion be in order to approve the minutes. It's been moved and seconded. I would just ask if we could look at page 2 under old business, about halfway down on the motion where it says 5 yeas and 5 nays, that should be 4 nays. If there's no objection, we'll make that change. Got it, okay. On the approval of the minutes, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes. Public comment.
Okay, it looks like we have Randy Dykeheis who wishes to address us.
Hi, Randy Dykeheis, 418 North Sycamore. First, thank you for your last meeting for approving the quarterly meetings between BWL Management and the owners of BWL, us, the residents of Lansing. I think that's going to help a lot with transparency and communication between management and, as I say, us, the owners. Further tonight, I hope that you will consider the proposed language that you got from Kristen Wewa for Section 4308, the Public Service Department, amending that to include sustainability function within the department. And also, she had language to add Chapter 7 to Article 5 to create Sustainability Environmental Affairs Board. I don't believe those were taken up at your last meeting. I hope you take those up tonight and approve both of those. I think the language that she drafted is very good. I also hope that you will consider changes as you go through Article 5, Chapter 1, changes to the appointment process for board members. I see I've got infinite time here, Chris. And that you'll make it a shared responsibility between the city council and the mayor. And so it's not just vested in one person to choose who's going to be appointed to any board or commission. I think that's important enough that it should be shared between council and the administration. And lastly, I hope that you do consider term limits for all boards and commissions. I'd advocate a 2-term limit for any one board member, 2 consecutive boards, 2 consecutive terms for any particular board, sit out a year, and that person could then be eligible for additional terms on the same board or commission. And of course, that wouldn't apply if the person wanted to serve on more than one board. They could certainly continue to go on and so forth. So those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Amanda Castillo.
Hi, so I don't really have anything prepared. I just kind of wanted to come down here to lend my support to the ethical investment clause. I don't believe it's something that has been spoken about yet. I think it's Article 7. However, if I could possibly speak to somebody maybe after the meeting to discuss when that might come to table, when it's going to be discussed, I would really appreciate that. And I just wanted to put my support behind that.
Thank you. That was our final speaker.
Thank you. Under officers' report, as a chair report, just want to make everyone aware that at our next Tuesday meeting, we're going to have representatives from both the fire board and the police board. This is to follow up on some of the discussions that we've had in the past. You'll note that in our Article 5 review tonight, there are 2 sections, one dealing with the fire board and the police board. We'll probably put those off until next week when we have the folks here that we can ask questions and then go for the approvals on that. But the rest of the article will be up for consideration tonight. So that's all I have, Madam Vice Chair.
Yes, I just want to state that I've had the opportunity to speak with the E&O Neighborhood Association as well as SWAG last week, and they actually have us on their agenda to speak up and just give like an update on what's going on. So as commissioners, if you have the opportunity to stop by and give them that up, they really appreciated that. Various dates, but I can send that out, but there's various, I know Commissioner Anderson and I were at the SWAG meeting, and then I was at the N&O meeting, and they had that on their agenda every month, us. Yep, Eastside Neighborhood Association, so. Huh? I will absolutely I will have Emery send those dates out. Mhm.
Clerksville. No report. No report. Okay, we're under old business. We're talking about Article 5. I think we'll start off, we do have a memo from our attorney, Ms. Riwa. Counsel, would you go over that memo? This deals with the Board of Water and Light, the discussions that we've had in the past regarding the return on equity. We were waiting for, there had been discussions between the city and the Board of Water and Light and our attorney regarding the language. So, Kristen, I'd turn this over to you at this point.
So yeah, it starts on page 17 of your packet, but this is a proposed rework of the current section 5-204 to specifically provide for the return on equity, which is an agreement that the city and the Board of Water and Light enter into for payment of funds to the city for really what is considered an acknowledgement of the fact that the city owns the utility and sort of the benefit as an owner, but also sort of the intangible benefits that the city in turn provides in terms of use of rights of way and things like that. This proposed language that we have here that begins on page 17 and moves on to page 18 is language that has been reviewed both by, we did initial draft, and then Board of Water and Light and the City Attorney's Office both reviewed and had input that came back to us. We reviewed, and we're in agreement with the language. So this language is language that 3 sets of attorneys have reviewed. It is appropriate to consider their considerations and their input in this, given that it is an agreement that is already in existence, and the idea is to make sure that it's stated in the charter and that it continues forth into the future. The idea with how this is worded is it is more of a framework to allow that to be negotiated based on changed circumstances as things go on, but to make sure that the agreement is in place is something that is beneficial to the city and also something that is workable and beneficial to the BWL.
Commissioner Bauer, sorry.
And just to clarify, there was really nothing in the charter describing the return on equity before.
Correct.
So
This is a new subset.
I think it's important, absolutely, that we have something, so thank
Commissioner
you.
Boyd.
And just to confirm, this language has been approved by the city and by the Board of Water and Light?
Yes, their attorneys and myself have reviewed it and
So
had
basically,
input.
if we approve it, we're rubber stamping what they've already said.
Well, I actually drafted it initially, and then they provided input. So I wouldn't say as a it's, I guess a rubber stamp of what the 3 sets of attorneys have
Okay.
said, please.
As
please
long as
review.
everybody's agreed, thank you.
But
Yeah.
it's input out of all 3 bodies, and keep in mind that 2 of those, the BWL and the city, have that agreement in place, so it is important to have their input on that. Yeah.
Is there a motion? Is there support? It's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes. All right, if we can go back to the beginning of Article 5, Chapter 1, we'll just do a run-through like we typically do on the reviews. So if we look at 5-101.1, Section 1, or Section .1, does anybody have any concerns, questions, comments, or is there a motion for approval? Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. .2. Commissioner Lopez.
Yeah, going to 5.1, 5103.
We're at 5.101.2.
Yeah, types of board, oh, no, wait a minute. 102, 102, I'm sorry.
This is the point two, right above
sorry?
that.
We're at 101.2. You're looking at 102.
Yeah, well, that's on Article 5, right? Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. Point two, is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
102.
Support? Is there support for point two? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes. Now we're at 5.102.1. Commissioner Lopez, did you have?
Yes. On the appointment of boards, types of boards, we have it's delineated, the types of boards that we have. I was wondering about ad hoc committees that from time to time the mayor appoints or the council appoints. Is there anything in the charter that needs to speak to that?
There's stuff. Go ahead. Commissioner Washington.
I think what it says is somewhere in here that from time to time the mayor may, I said what I think it says in here, and if it doesn't, from time to time, the mayor may appoint an ad hoc committee, but that's not really anything for the charter. That's not anything we're going to want to dig down and dive into. He can make a ad hoc committee. It's only for a certain amount of time, all ad hoc. So I frankly don't think it's anything we need to be double downing on.
And really, I'm referring to instances that have happened in the past, issues that happen in the city. So we have a police board of commissioners, and well, let's stay with that. Incidents happen in the community. We have the Edward Swans case, and there was an appointed committee other than the police commission appointed to review that and do some work. And I was wondering if there should be some language that that those special committees should also include the commissioners that are in place in some way, shape, or form. Because there have been others. I mean, that's only one.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering if there's anything that my city charter might speak to. Because that really becomes the mayor's appointment. I don't know if they come to the council.
The council also has the ability to appoint ad hoc
Yeah,
committees.
it's an ability, but it's
Yeah.
a shared responsibility.
I think each one has their own responsibility or
Yeah, well.
authority to create those commissions. Commissioner Washington.
And Commissioner Lopez, in the case of the Swans Committee, you wouldn't want commissioners on that committee. That was to be an outside investigatory. And if you have people that are already in the official capacity, that kind of negates the purpose of the ad hoc for those situations. That's why I think it's best we stay out of it and let council and the mayor do their ad hocs as they see fit.
Yeah. The real point was, should there be any language that addressed
We'll
that?
take a look at that and come back at the next meeting.
That was my
Okay.
main point.
All right, on the types of boards, we have subsection, or section .1, talks about the Water of Light being the administrative board. Is there any discussion? Is there support, a motion? Is there support?
Support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes. Review boards, .2. Are there any questions or comments on that language? Commissioner Washington.
My question about this is the examples of review boards, our planning board, board of review. I thought because of state statute, we had to change that from a review board to a commission, and that the duties of that have actually changed because of state law.
We'll take a look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The title of the planning board per state law is the planning commission.
Right,
So
so,
the title at very least needs to be changed. I
Right.
know
Right,
that.
right.
Because
Yes,
commission and
yes.
review
Right.
boards are totally
Okay.
different.
yeah, we'll come back to that next meeting. .3, advisory boards. Any questions on that? It's been moved. Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Fire Board, Police Board of Commissioners. And again, we'll get into greater detail later on in the article regarding both of those boards. Is there any questions or discussion on that language? Is there a motion to support or approve? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Point 5, all other boards are advisory boards. It's not a tough one. So there's moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes. And then point 6 talks about our retirement boards. Any discussion or questions on that? Hearing none, is there, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, does pass. We're on appointment of board members, point 1. Are there any questions or concerns about that language? It's been moved. Is there support? Comment? Commissioner Anderson.
The except that a felony conviction part, I don't know if that's still necessary since we changed.
There's still a reference to that, I thought. Let's check it out. I thought,
Match it to the state constitution.
right, and I thought there was still a reference to some felony in that language. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
I thought that
Go ahead, Commissioner Kuwait.
I thought all we did was change the reference to if they hadn't had a felony within 2 years. So is that what we need to add in here?
No, I think it was related to a certain act. Yeah,
It's, if I remember correctly, it was narrowed to a breach of public trust, the things
Yeah.
that are in the state constitution,
But it was
rather than
still-
broad list of felonies.
but it was still left in there. Okay. Commissioner Washington,
Is there a reason it has to be in there at all?
I'm sorry?
For this particular paragraph, is there a reason we have to have it in there at all? Do we even need to mention this?
Go ahead, Chris.
If I can, this was added not that long ago. The exemption, it used to be that if you had a felony, you couldn't serve on any board or commission. And the thought, and the voters did approve this change, obviously. The thought was that, that the mayor and city council could make a reasonable decision on whether a felony should remove someone from. So if you remove that sentence here, then it follows the exact same provision as all other offices for the city.
I mean, I don't think it's necessary, but I don't.
All right. All right, is there any other questions, concerns? Is there a motion to support? It's been moved. Is there support? Anybody? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, does pass. Point 2. Commissioner Washington.
I have a problem with the mayor appointing everybody to the boards. It becomes a political way to stack boards and to stack council by placing them on boards so that they can campaign on it when they've only served on it for a few months. I don't know the best way to word it, but I think the mayor shall perhaps appoint to the commissions, but I would like to see the council have the power to, the authority to appoint to the boards and have the mayor vet or approve.
Commissioner Boyd.
I think that the council should play a role, and perhaps, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to recommend this language, I put this out for discussion. I think maybe if the council could nominate to the mayor 2 or 3 people that the mayor could consider, and you could put their names out publicly, and then the mayor could consider those people. Because I understand what the Commissioner in Washington is saying and what others have said, that this is a process that's relegated strictly to the mayor. The mayor can appoint whoever the mayor wants, and the council can confirm or not confirm. But it seems like the council might want to have a role in it somehow. Whether they can appoint, I'm not sure I'm ready to go that far, but I think perhaps the council could recommend 1 or 2 or 3 people to a board. Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair.
Yes, I would favor taking the steps that they do for the Board of Ethics, where each council person appoints someone from their ward with the approval of the mayor, and then the mayor appoints 2 at-large members, because now that we have 7 seats, that would be my favor. Because you're getting someone from your district with the approval of the mayor, you put someone forward, and then he appoints 2 at-large. Because currently for the Board of Ethics, each person appoints somebody from the ward, their ward, and then the mayor appoints 4 people at-large. I think that would be a fair compromise.
Commissioner Kui.
I'm not sure how I
Commissioner
feel about that, only for this reason. We
Okay.
have taken steps as a commission to support a strong mayor of government. And I don't know how that plays into that. I mean, again, I think the council needs to have a role or a say. Whether or not they should be able to appoint someone to a board, I don't know. I don't know.
Commissioner Kui.
So on the language here, it says that, and I'm just referring with what you said, that is rubber stamped in putting his people on boards. It is by consent of the council, and no appointment shall be effective until council has confirmed it. So they do have a role in that. So how can you say that they're rubber stamping what the mayor wants when they have a very appropriate role in putting that person? If they do not consent or approve that, the person doesn't make it on that board. And that language is here.
If Commissioner Lopez, then Commissioner Anderson, and then Vice Chair.
So what happens with the appointments right now is that if it's a ward vacancy, the council members know that it's a ward vacancy, and either the mayor asks us or not, but they try to recruit from the ward. Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They try to recruit from their board, from their ward, so that they can be represented. We still have to come before the council and be voted on. And the mayor has to, once he or she receives the nomination or the application, brings it to council for a vote. So, I mean, in a way, there is input from council at this point if they want to. Not that they have to, I suppose. But if it's a ward vacancy, they have the leeway to ask people that they think that can serve on that commission to apply. And then the rest is the process. The mayor can accept that application and bring it forth for a vote. I think as far as at large, I'm not sure how that works, but maybe that's where council members could also ask members at large to apply, because that's a vacancy. That's what happens now anyway.
Commissioner Anderson.
And I don't want to discount what Commissioner Lopez is saying. I think that there are council people who go out in their community and in their wards and try to find people to apply, but they're not necessarily nominating them. And I think historically, which I know council and the mayor have recently worked together to try to make this process more transparent, but historically, only the mayor and his team had access to the applicants for boards and commissions, and the council only had access to who was being appointed, and then they just could confirm that appointment or not. But they don't see like, oh, these 5 people applied and maybe someone else has better qualifications or something that could, be beneficial to the board other than just taking the mayor's word for it.
And Vice Chair.
And I think this issue comes up because there's been a lack of transparency. And that's why President Cost of the City Council said, well, we're not going to approve anybody unless we see all applicants. So we have to find a way to bring everyone together and make sure that, one, all applicants are seen, And then they can be a fair process, because if you don't know who applied, and people said they applied, never even heard back, like, well, I received your application. They never hear everything. So what can we do to build that bridge and bring that together? That's my concern.
Wait a minute.
Commissioner Washington?
Thank you. In a perfect world, Commissioner Lopez, that is how it's supposed to work, but unfortunately, it's not a perfect city, and it does not work that way. So having been on council for several years, I've been on boards and applied for boards, I know exactly how it works. And I frankly really like the language that Commissioner Adam Simon has put forward, because a strong mayor is not a king. We need balance of power. A strong mayor means not a business manager, and that they have the executive branch, but we should have balance of power in our branches of our city government. So I am not all for a dictatorial kingship and a strong mayor. And I think the legislative branch should have say too, because the advisory board and the commissions also make advisory recommendations on ordinances, resolutions, policies, and that is the legislative branch. So I do like the thought of each ward member putting forth someone and the mayor doing the at-large.
Mr. Bauer?
I'm just wondering if we contact MML, I'd like to know if there are some other models out there of ways, because I'm not hearing anything I'm totally in support of yet. Other models that other cities use to involve the council more. Could we look into that?
Yeah. Commissioner Lopez?
The other issue is people's willingness to serve on boards and commissions. That's why sometimes you don't get the people to apply, and that's what keeps the vacancies going and going, or appointing the same person for a long time, which is not really what we would like to see. So I guess that in a way, if the council individuals, the council members have an opportunity to recommend someone, and then the mayor puts together the list of recommended, and then his selection, his recommendation, then the council would have all that information together and see who else had applied and why, maybe ask why this one over this one, that kind of a thing, so it would be more transparent. But I think council really does have the opportunity to recruit and recommend if they want to. If they don't want to, it's up to them. Again, we can only put things in writing, and it's their responsibility to either act or not act on some of their abilities given by the charter.
If there's one thing we've learned in this process, or at least one thing that I've learned, is that the city council has a lot of authority that it's not using.
Commissioner Bauer?
And it also occurs to me, there are many different council members with many different strengths, and so if we have council members who don't do well with this responsibility of appointing a person, wait till the last minute, try to find somebody. I mean, I worry about having 5 different people who would have varying degrees of responsibility, sense of responsibility, interest. So that concerns me. I'm liking the idea of, and I don't know what Councilmember Washington would feel about this, that the council members actually recommend, nominate people from whom publicly. I mean, I think that could help. But, you think of like the governor's office or the mayor's office, appointments that is a huge job in the executive branch. You have to keep, hopefully, names of people who might be interested, who have skills. I mean, I look at like the especially Board of Review, Board of Zoning Appeals, Board of Review, Planning Board. We need to have people with specific skills sometime too on boards. So this is a more complicated issue. But I think hopefully there would be a way we could give the council more involvement in the process someplace, like in the charter, saying that they would nominate people to boards that the mayor would consider.
Commissioner Anderson.
I think the concern about, a council member not taking up the responsibility of nominating or appointing someone, I think we could have that same conversation about the mayor, and they're responsible for everyone, right, for every single seat. And there's literally nothing that we can do about an elected person not doing their responsibilities in a timely manner other than voting them out. We've had that conversation multiple times. So I think that we can't make decisions based off of the assumption that we might vote somebody in who won't do their job. That's all.
Well, just my response to that is, I think that's quite possibly could happen, that we get someone in that will not do, we had a ward council member who didn't even appear at committee meetings for an entire year. I think you have to consider that. But, I go back to what we did, one of the first actions that we took here as a commission, and that was to create a strong mayor form of government. And it seems that on a lot of these things, we keep chipping away at that. In this case, you've got a check and a balance. You've got the mayor is proposing and council gets to dispose. That they're involved, the council is involved in every one of these appointments. If you go on to the city's website, in terms of transparency, you have the list of applicants to boards and commissions. I don't know if you all looked at that. It's quite comprehensive. I don't know if it includes everybody. And then you have the list of all of the current members and their terms, and it's surprised me when I was looking at that, the number of vacancies, current vacancies that exist. And we've had conversations about certain areas in the city. For example, in Ward 2, there's certain sections that are heavily populated by students that attend Michigan State University, and I love all of them. They are my bosses. But I think you'd be hard pressed to get some interest out of there to serve on one of these boards. Maybe not, but it's hard to even get someone to run for the second ward sometimes, and because of that. But in any event, the way the system is set up now, it's a strong mayor form of government. There's a balance here, a check and a balance. Again, if council doesn't want to take that responsibility, or if they can't get 6 votes to override, it's a strong mayor form of government. So that's my position. But Commissioner Washington.
I'm going to go back to the strong mayor. It's not a dictatorship. I know in the 8 years I was on council, and Brian, I served with you, not one person ever questioned an appointment by the mayor. I did once, but not one other person, including you, ever questioned somebody the mayor brought forward. It was just yup, 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 yup. And as far as people not applying for these boards, most people don't even know they exist. Most people don't even know how to apply. So it's not a matter of not being interested in serving our committee. And the more I hear about everybody's position about a strong mayor, had I the opportunity to take that vote over again, I would vote for a business manager.
Anybody else? Commissioner Anderson?
Yeah, and I agree, we did vote for a strong mayor almost day one. And I distinctly remember this day, and we went all around and everyone indicated their stance on strong mayor versus city manager. And I personally remember saying, we're talking about wanting to keep a strong mayor for accountability, but there's no accountability without transparency. And so I'm not necessarily asking to take away roles of the mayor, but I do think that it's our responsibility to come up with possibly innovative ways of conducting government business that allows for our community to have more access to what's occurring, the things that impact their everyday lives. And so I think that, like, okay, maybe we agree that we want the mayor to continue to appoint all of the boards and commissions, and you said there's a list of applicants on the website, but that was just added like maybe a couple months ago. And so at a minimum, we should be adding that in the language in the charter that list should be publicized and available to the public at all times and should be updated on a regular basis. So I'm just, I mean, I'm happy to make a proposal to add that language in there.
Well, I think in the charter, I think that section .5 kind of deals with that, and that may be where you'd want to put some of that language.
I like that.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we'll bring some more information back. I think Commissioner Bauer asked for some information, and we will return to this section later. All right, .3. Nope. Go ahead. Questions? .3. Anything? 4-year term? Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Dowd.
Chair Jeffries, is this where we would want to, if people are interested, I'm not sure that I'm in favor of term limits for board appointments, but is this where we would add that if that's what folks wanted?
It would be one place that you could, I would probably refer to our council, but that would be one place that you could do it. And you may want to look at 5-107, .2. This deals with the continuation of existing boards, and it does talk about the term of persons serving at the time the charter goes into effect. We might want to deal with it there as well, and maybe even in both places.
But we would want it to match, correct?
Yes, I think
Okay.
you would.
So we need to talk about that now.
So
Go ahead.
Commissioner
5-103.
Dowd? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
ahead,
Commissioner
I'm sorry.
Dowd.
No, go ahead,
and
go
the
ahead,
Vice
no.
Chair.
No problem. Similar, echoing that, I think, wow, that's very loud. I do want to propose term limits in this. I think it's good governance. Any board that I've been on anywhere in the world, or in the state, in the community, has had a term limit. And after 2 terms, you must take a break from that board. It doesn't mean you can't serve again, but we certainly could fall victim easily to somebody serving 30 years on a board, and in fact, we have. And I don't think that's good governance for a city.
And Vice Chair.
Yes, I was saying that, wouldn't that fall under 5-103.3, when it says the terms of the boards established in the charter or by ordinance shall be 4 years commencing July 1st, otherwise provided, and shall not exceed 2 consecutive terms? Could we add that there?
We can, and
If we choose
I'd
to.
look at the other one just to make sure it's
Yeah.
consistent. But I would ask our council to come back with language to do that, just to make sure we get it right on both sections.
Well, I have questions in terms of term limits. Is it just 2 consecutive terms? Is this 2 terms on any one board?
Yes.
Okay. And
Commissioner
then
Boyd? Well,
partial terms was my other question.
that's what was going to, I think 5-107 would deal with that piece of it. Commissioner Boyd and then Commissioner Washington.
I would just say to your question, Kristen, that's how I view it. 2 consecutive terms on a board. That doesn't mean that if a person completed 2 consecutive terms on a board, that they couldn't be appointed to another board. I wouldn't think that it would preclude that. And I think we have had mayors in the past who have sort of subscribed to that informally, that they wanted term limits on their board appointees. I know that for a fact, actually. And so I would support your proposal that we have term limits for board members. I think that's very important. And for the record, I don't support term limits at the voting booth, but when it comes to appointments on boards and commissions, I do. Thank you.
Commissioner Washington.
Thank you. I think my only concern is if we make that very broad, we have some boards that you have to have specific licenses, zoning, electrical board, plumbing board. And I'm afraid if we do that, we will never have anybody on those boards. There are some boards that just require specific qualifications, and so I'm concerned with that. But I do also like, I think Commissioner Dowd said that we put language in there that they have to take a rest. Perhaps they could go back to that board after a term or two, because we're going to lose a lot of knowledge, institutional knowledge, but there would still be people there that had it, and then they could go back. But I just want to make sure we don't make it so broad that we get into trouble with those boards that require specific licenses and certifications.
Other comments? Kristen, do you know what you have to do?
Yeah, I'll have something for you to chew on next time.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to point 4. Does this, now if I understand it correctly, either you or the mayor is keeping a real-time list. So how would that fit with number 4 then, or point 4?
I have a database and I produce a list and submit it to city council annually. And that's in addition to always having an updated current list, but this is like the list of people that will be expiring.
Okay, so do we need to have a point 4? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know to what use the council puts it, but it's certainly not a burden for me to continue doing it.
Well, I think this sets up the process in which it was supposed to be. These are how the appointments or reappointments would occur. Here's the timeline, here's the process. This is part of that. If we take that out or maybe put something in there that there will be a list that will be maintained in real time that will be available to both the mayor's office and city council, and then we could still then maintain the rest of that process. I guess is what I'm thinking. Is that, Commissioner Boyd?
I support point 4 of 103, that the clerk will provide a report to the mayor and the council of people whose terms are expiring. I think that's very important. I do.
It is, and I think
And not only that, it helps them to not fall into a trap where people are continuing to serve even though their 2 terms are up.
I agree with that, Commissioner Boyd, and I think in terms of transparency, I think it's evolved into something that's now real time, and we have all that information that's available to, not only to us, but to the public, not just on March, at the end of March, but at all times.
Right, ongoing database.
Yeah, yeah. And, I mean, I think that gets to what everybody's talking about in terms of transparency and things of that sort. Commissioner Washington?
Not that I want to ask Chris anything, because he's not responsible for this, but don't you already have something on your website that has the list of the boards and who the members are?
That's what we're talking
So it's already available, correct?
Right. I will say, I think the benefit of this is it kind of narrows the list to, these are the ones coming up.
Okay.
It kind of
So think about it.
places a focus on it
Okay.
ahead of the expiration. So I think there is a.
I withdraw all my comments.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
All of it.
All right, so is this something we want to keep?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll support.
Moved and supported, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Wow, got it done. Point 5. I would just ask, is this procedure, I mean, I know on the boards and commissions website, there's the application is available, and it talks about how to apply. Is that what was contemplated by this, or is there an actual procedure that the administration has put together?
I'm not aware, other than having it on the website, of a procedure. That doesn't mean there is one. That doesn't mean there isn't one.
Okay.
So
Why don't we check that out and come back with that? I'm sorry, Commissioner Boyd?
I know we just approved point 4, but I guess I'm asking the clerk more than anyone. And looking at point 6, are the dates still relevant In other words, in the one that we just approved, it said that you had to provide this report at the first, prior to the first council meeting in March, and then in point 6, it says that the council shall act on each appointment at or prior to its first meeting in June. I'm just asking, are those dates realistic? Do they work? Or should they be amended?
Well, if the terms begin on July 1st, you do have to kind of have a process. So I think it still primarily works.
I was just wondering if maybe the first meeting in March was too late. Because if there aren't people who are in the queue for an appointment and you have to recruit, is there time? I'm just asking. I don't know.
Commissioner Anderson? Oh, I thought you had your hand up. I'm sorry. Commissioner Washington?
Commissioner Boyd, I think the way it's working right now is if the term has expired, but they haven't filled the vacancy, the person continues to serve, which, to your point, would be probably a good idea to make sure we have that filled, because the game has been played in the past where they just don't fill it and that person continues on forever. And I think there needs to be a way to close that loophole. I just have one more question on this. The mayor shall establish and make public a procedure. I guess I don't like the wording of that. Why should the mayor have to do that every time there's a change in mayor? I would think the procedure stays the same. So I'm wondering if we even need that, and if we do, I don't think this is the best wording.
We'll bring back some language on that. And I think in terms of I'm sorry, Commissioner Anderson.
I do think, though, that the procedure may change. I mean, I'm assuming it changes from time to time. I'm assuming at one point it was just paper applications, and now you can apply online. You know what I mean? So I would like to keep this, even if it's reworded, to assume that the mayor doesn't have to create a new procedure, that it can just maintain the old one if that one works. And then I just want to ensure that, are we going to be generating some language about applications being public for .5?
You want the actual applications public?
Or that council has access to them or something.
That they're given to council.
Well, right now, they'll
Yeah.
take the applications, they've got the name, they've got they've got the name, what ward they live in, what their first, second, third, and fourth choice of commissioner board to serve on, and the date that they submitted their application.
I think that's perfect. Yeah, if that can be added in here to be publicized.
So, this kind of stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
thank you.
Kristen, we'll get that to you. Okay, thank you.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Lopez?
On this, a public procedure, that's on 5, the mayor shall establish and make public a procedure, to apply for these positions or be recommended. I wonder if there should be some language that would speak to possibly informational sessions about boards and commissions for the community to know more about this. I mean, it probably could be done by the mayor simply because he wants to inform the people how to apply and what does it entail, what does it mean to be on this board or that board. I mean, Commissioner Washington mentioned specific boards like the planning and the plumbing and all those, they have to have those. But for other general boards like, and I use that loosely, but the HRCS, police, others that are not specific, things that people have to come to the table with. If there should be some informational sessions on how to apply and what does it mean to, for community who might want to apply, but they're not sure if they have.
We'll check into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Vice Chair.
Yes, I don't know where this will be added, but I would like to see some type of governance training for all board members and really let them know what their responsibilities are as a board member.
think that's
And
the
the ethics,
Later, that's why I said I didn't know where it's at.
We could add that.
Okay, thank you.
and the ethics of that serving on the board. Right.
Commissioner
And
Boyd.
as we look at that, personally, I don't think this is something the mayor should have to do. I think the mayor could designate somebody to do it. I mean, the HR director could do it. I mean, a number of people could do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a forum that tells people that this is a process and here's how you want to be a part of it, this is how you do it. But I don't think the mayor should have to do it. I just think, as I look at the charter, we're putting a lot on the mayor.
Oh, he's a strong mayor.
I got
Speaking, Commissioner Bauer.
I know, we're kind of beating this subject to death, but I do think it would be an excellent idea to do an orientation. I don't know that that's ever been done, like a citywide, once a year. We have a lot of people who might be interested, who might just go to something like that to hear about options. I'm not sure that requirement belongs in the charter.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I really would hope, if anybody's listening out there, that that's something that the city would take seriously to do. I think it could really help involvement, getting people on boards. We have a lot of people who are interested, new people, young people, old people, no, but they don't know enough about it, and so they don't do anything about it. So I really like that idea. Whoever that was, yours, I think, Guillermo.
Okay, getting back, go ahead.
I just want to say really quickly, I really think the training is critical. I really do. What is it? How does our city government even work? So many people on the boards don't even know how our city works. People that vote don't know how our city works. But we do have a lot of opportunities for that, Commissioner Bauer. I know that Mayor Bernero used to do City Hall on the road, and we have the Citizens Academy, and we have, the council people have their constituent meetings. So I think there is that opportunity to get that out without putting it in the charter. But it is a good idea.
Okay, moving on. Point 6. This is part of the continuation of that process that the mayor's going to, another thing that the mayor has to do. We'll file the list of appointments to the council for the first meeting in May of each year, and they'll have to act on that by the end of June, or by the first meeting in June, I'm sorry. Is there any discussion on that language? Is there any support for that language?
So moved.
Is there moved and supported? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes. Number 7 talks about vacancies that may occur and how they have to be filled. There's also a role for council. Has council ever appointed the 3-person after 60 days? No. Commissioner Boyd.
I have a question. I remember our council president saying that he was putting a moratorium, for lack of a better word, on the appointment of commissions and board members because he wanted the process changed. What is the status of that? And can he do that given the language that's in the charter? I'm asking because I don't know.
His statement was that he wanted a published list of all applicants, and until that list was published, he would have a moratorium on the council approving appointments.
And
I
has
believe
he
that.
done- has that been
I believe
resolved?
the mayor has
Well,
done that.
If you can go back to point 2, it's the last sentence, no such appointment shall be effective until the council has confirmed it. So, the question, then the issue is, can council sit on these indefinitely? If the mayor
Right.
brings the appointment. And, they have, in this section, council, if the vacancy's not filled within 60 days, council has the right to convene in a committee of 3 to do the appointment, which we've heard has never been done before, but I know there have been appointments that exceeded 60 days, so council is not, again, invoking the authority and power that they have. But it could be that in point 2, that no such appointment shall be effective until council has confirmed it, or after 60 days,
But what has happened? Has it been resolved? I just don't know.
I don't. Commissioner Washington.
It has. Mayor Shore took care of it immediately, provided the list. Appointments have continued.
Okay.
But this is a case where it was kind of, it's a family show, darned if you do and darned if you don't. We hear all the time, well, council has all these tools they never use. But when this one was used, the president of council got a lot of flack for using the very tool he had in the charter. However, yes, it has been taken care of. Andy
Thank you.
Shore took care of it right away.
So, point 7. Is this language acceptable? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. We've reviewed point 8 and made the changes. Point 9, we've taken care of. Point 10, appointments to the board have to reflect the diversity of Lansing citizens, et cetera. Is there any concern with that language?
I don't have concern with that language, but I know when the mayor spoke to us, he stated that he doesn't know the diversity of the applicants when he gets the applicant. So how do you ensure that the boards reflect the community that we serve?
Let's check that out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Number 11. Everybody good with that? It's been moved. Is there a motion? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes. Dealt with point 12. 5-104, ineligibility for boards. The issue, the mayor has raised this issue that if a city employee or someone who's working with the city is not eligible to be a voting member on any board, I thought he made an argument for loosening that up a bit and trying to find language that if a city member or if a city employee is on one of these boards, there would, have to be a conflict check, et cetera. Is everybody interested in looking at that? Commissioner Dowd?
Yeah, I thought that was a good point, too. I think when we are talking how the boards are established, it in 102.1 at the top there, it mentions they become an officer of the city. So if you're serving on a board or commission, you're an officer. I would propose that you cannot be an officer of the city in another capacity. So you wouldn't want somebody that's already a department head, for example, serving on a board or commission. The goal here is to have our community, our common folks, be part of this and be active in our government. So you wouldn't want to fill a board and commission with other officers of the city, would be my only concern.
Commissioner Washington.
I thought the mayor made a very weak position for wanting to have city employees on these boards. First of all, there's always going to be a conflict. They get their bread and butter from the city. So they're not going to want to make advisory suggestions that may not align with their department heads and their mayor. Also, I think this is an opportunity for the everyday citizen to have a say in their community and involvement. City employees already have an avenue to make their voice heard, and I thought the argument was weak, and I am vehemently opposed to it.
Commissioner Boyd.
What if there was a way that, and again, I look at our community and city employees and the jobs that they do, what if a city employee was a member of a commission or a board, applied for a commission or a board, which doesn't affect their job? In other words, let's use as an example, let's say IT. We've got a lot of people in IT. But they wanted to be on the park board. And IT doesn't have anything to do with park board. Why couldn't they apply to be on the park board? I don't understand. And I think a city employee is as much of an engaged citizen as anyone. I mean, they have a vested interest in the city being whole and being good and strong. I understand what's being said in terms of influence if if an appointment was to a board that oversaw what they work on. But I don't know, I think that there might be an opening.
Commissioner Bauer.
You know, I don't think it's a good idea for many reasons. I think there is the conflict of interest. I think it could potentially put the employee in a very difficult position, because you say it wouldn't have anything to do if you were on the park commission, but I think we all know how interconnected issues are. And I actually am having some real concerns with something we already passed that I don't know if we'll go back and talk about it, with having employees be able to be called down before council. And it's for the same reason I'm very concerned with what the position we're putting employees in. So I don't think, I wouldn't support having city employees be on
Yes,
commissions.
I move that we keep the language the same for 5-104.
It's been moved and supported.
She has it.
Commissioner Anderson?
I move that we correct activity to actively.
No person holding.
Without objection, we make that change.
Yes, we
Active.
will do that.
Yeah, well, no, actively
Or actively
employed.
employed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't see.
Okay. Other discussion on the motion? It's been moved and supported to leave as is. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No.
Oh,
Is that,
There's two, I think. You.
yeah. So I think, was it, we have 8, are all 9 of us here? So 2, it was 7-2. 7-2. Moving on. Organization of boards, rules of procedure. This is Article 5, Chapter 105, Section .1. Is there support for that language?
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. .2.
So moved. Oh, good. No, she has something.
Commissioner Washington?
Chairman, okay, each board shall organize itself for the conduct of its business, et cetera. Secretary who shall take the minutes of the board meetings. That rarely happens. It's usually a staff member that is there, and the secretary of the board does not take the minutes, and the staff member is not a member of the board. And frankly, what tends to happen is they interject a whole lot more than they should. They should just be taking the minutes if they're a staff member, but I don't know. This isn't how it happens.
Well, it says that's how it should happen. So. Man, Vice Chair.
Mr. Clerk, is that how it happens?
For the boards that I'm at, well, the Board of Ethics specifically says that the clerk is the secretary. So
Exactly.
there's, and I'm sure our attorney could weigh in, but the specific always overrules the general, so this is general. Other boards, I am not sure. I assume that Commissioner Washington is right, that the minutes are prepared for and then submitted under the name of the secretary, but
Well, then, how does this, is this consistent then with Section 5-106.6, where it says, each city officer who directs an agency or activity within the scope of the advisory board shall attend all of its meetings and supply necessary secretarial services? So how do those?
Exactly.
Conflicts each other. Yeah. So,
so is what should happening is that the board should name the staff person as their secretary?
yeah.
I don't know. Does the secretary have to be a member of the board?
Commissioner Washington.
I don't have a problem with it being done that way. I know in HRCS, Renee Freeman does the minutes, even though there's a secretary, but I think it should be consistent, and I think it should be how it's done and not.
So it's done under .6 is how it's done, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, Counselor,
yeah, that's
would
true.
you make point 1 in 105 consistent with point 6 in 106? Thank you. So we did approve that. We'll come back and take that up at our next meeting. Okay, point 2.
So wait, so it's not approved now?
It is approved. We're going to have to go back when we get the language and amend it at our next meeting. So point 2, it's not a double. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Point 3, it's been
Second.
moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Point 4,
So moved.
should this language reflect what we do in terms of our definition of publish? So, Kristen, can you bring back language for that? Okay, thank you. Point 5,
Second.
been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Point 6,
Second.
been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Point 7,
Probably need to open that up a little bit.
I was wondering, has anyone ever been dismissed for non-attendance? Have they? Commissioner Washington? They have. Okay,
Parks Board.
okay. All right, so it works. All those in favor say aye. Whoops, go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
don't know that it works, though, because did it work when the person missed the whole year? I'm sorry. Can we say that it actually works since a council person missed a whole year of meetings?
This is for boards.
Oh, just, okay, well, cool, okay, yeah.
Okay. On the language, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes. Point
Yeah.
8. Got a check and a balance here. All those in favor say aye. Oh, wait, are you saying this does not work? Or wait?
I'm saying the language is interpreted differently by different people.
So
So,
explain.
so it says the rules shall be effective at the council meeting in which they are received unless council directs otherwise. Well, council takes referrals, and council never takes any action at the council meeting where it's referred, so they never direct otherwise. So council really doesn't have an opportunity to review these. Then they get sent to committee, but they're already in force because council didn't take any different action.
Councilman Washington.
So should we put something in there that council needs to approve the rules and it to be effective? And then,
How about after the next meeting or something like that, then it's automatic, so it's not going to get hung up?
I think that would make more sense, is to just give, like, the following council meeting.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Kristen, why don't- Commissioner Lopez.
in the, in the charter, not the charter, but the code of ordinances, each board has its own section ordinance,
Mhm.
and it gives you basically how it works, rules of procedure and attendance and things like that. So I don't know if we have to go and look at those things, but they currently are in the code of ordinances for each
Okay.
of these advisory or boards. So, but what it says here, it's what's on those ordinances as it is right now. Maybe they need to be updated.
Kristen, can you make the language for point 8?
Just to be, so I understood you, do you want the council to actually have to approve it at the next meeting, or that they go into effect at the next meeting unless otherwise?
That's what I'd like.
Unless otherwise, okay.
Yes.
Second part, okay.
Point 9. Anyone? I hear some motions and a support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Point 10. Does this happen, Chris, with the minutes?
Yes, and we do have issues following up with some boards to get their minutes to us, but we chase them down. And I can tell you, some particular boards make a point to get us their draft minutes to make sure that things go into effect right away, while other boards wait and do 2 or 3 months at a time.
Well, should we address that
I-
in terms of when they should submit?
I'm not sure it's realistic to say that no official action taken by any board shall not be valid or effective until the copy is filed with the city clerk. I mean, that can lead to some, the Board of Zoning Appeals or the Planning Commission. Their decisions need to move forward, and I think that sentence is unnecessary.
Okay, so would it make sense in adding some language that would say the minutes have to be filed by a certain time?
I would say that, yes.
Okay.
Say that again?
That the minutes would have to be filed with the city clerk within a certain period of time, not 3 months, but within a week after adoption, or?
There's some language in the Open Meetings Act about that, so don't remember it off the top of my head, but I can cross-reference that for any language.
Okay, thank you. So we'll come back to that one. Point 11. Have they ever approved authorization of payments for expenses?
Not that I'm aware of, but I mean, I know some boards have reimbursed, people for travel, so
Okay.
I don't know why it would say city council, since, it would be under generally a department's budget.
Should we be looking at changing this then?
I think that would make sense,
Okay.
to say, just say, actual necessary expenses can be
It should be
reimbursed.
authorized, as authorized by the budget, or?
Right, yeah, by the
Okay.
budget.
Kristen, are you following this? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll come back to that one. Now, in terms of board training that you had raised, I would think it would either go into 105 or 106. If that would be my view. Do other people want it to? Probably 105.
105,
Yeah.
Attorney Ruat, is there language you can develop for that, or I can submit language for training and education? It's totally,
If you send me something to work with,
Okay.
I would like that.
I will do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and so we'll place it in 105 once we get that done. Okay. Then 5-106.1. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes. Point 2. Commissioner Bauer, Commissioner.
My question, like with number 2, does this happen this way? I'm asking the clerk, maybe.
I can't remember ever getting reports from the board along with the mayor's reports.
There are some where it is specifically required that, like the planning commission,
Right.
a rezoning has the
Right.
planning commission's recommendations. So there are some that are very specific, but others, the board may be working through the department kind of where they're housed, and it might come through where it doesn't necessarily appear that it's the board, but it might be the board. I don't know.
Why don't we check that out and come back and check out what the actual press, Commissioner Washington.
I'm just wondering, excuse me, if having the board's recommendations along with the mayor's when it is sent to council, that doesn't add some layer of transparency that the council actually knows what the board recommendation was. So I'm not opposed to it being in there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's opposed to it. I just want to know if it's happening, and we'll check that out and bring the information back. Okay. Point 3. Similar language, but dealing with the capital improvement plan. Should we, do you want me to go back and check all of this stuff to make sure it's happening? Okay, so for point 2, point 3, point 4, 5 and 6, or 5, we'll get some information back to everybody of whether that's happening or not. Okay. Commissioner Cui. Yeah, we're going to try to find out what the process is, and it did. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll check it out. Continuation of existing boards. Again, we're going to try to get some language to make sure it matches up with other sections of the charter. But with point 1, .107.1. Okay. Been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. We'll come back with language for point 2. 5-108.1. I think we've been through this one. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes. Point 2.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Passes. Point 3.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. We've already done Chapter 2 regarding the Board of Water and Light. We actually finished that tonight. Then Chapter 3 deals with the Board of Police Commissioners, and Chapter 4 deals with the Board of Fire Commissioners. Let's take those up next week when we have the representatives from the boards here, and we can ask them questions. And then Chapter 5, Board of Ethics, 5-501. Just, I guess I'd ask the Vice Chair, you've served on this board, correct?
Yes, correct.
This is fairly recent language, isn't it? Or when did this go into the charter? How long ago?
Well, you probably have to ask the clerk on that.
Do you know, has that been a while?
After early retirement?
Oh, yes, okay, got it, understood. I remember that.
My concern with the Board of Ethics is the fact that the board makes recommendations, but there's no teeth behind it. They can say that this person needs just training, we just had experience with that, or we can find this person, I'm not going to say liable, but in error of their duties, and nothing follows up with it. So we don't have any remedy for the actions that we're recommending. And with the Board of Ethics, if people don't know, you're actually looking at conflict of interest, or if somebody has some form of misconduct. And so we make that recommendation back to the city attorney and the clerk's office, but I know the 12 years that I spent on the board, nothing came of the recommendations that we made.
Oh.
So-
Well, let's go through this then. Let's see if we can
Okay.
figure out how to do that. Commissioner Washington?
Yeah, there's no teeth.
As we're going through this, I guess my question would be this, is who determines when a complaint is made, what actually gets to the Board of Ethics? Because I know there have been situations where people have made what I thought were very valid complaints, but it never got to the Board of Ethics. So how is that determination made?
I'm not sure what the process is.
There is a specific provision that says what's required of a complaint, and every complaint that is made and filed in my office is sent to the Board of Ethics.
So then that decision would have been made by the Board of Ethics, not to.
So the process is, the Board of Ethics is notified, as well as the city attorney. The city attorney makes a preliminary written analysis that the Board of Ethics reviews, and then determines what action to take from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chris. All right, 5-501.1. It's got a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, but it's so moved.
Been moved, is there support?
Support.
Been moved and supported, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes. Point 2. It's been moved and supported, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Membership. Is this going to then change to 5-3 as opposed to 4-4?
No, we voted, I thought we voted to keep it 8 members, all the commissioners.
Right, 5-3. We were going to do 5 Ward 3 at large.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Why don't we'll make those changes and bring it back to the next, just so make sure we've covered all the bases on that. So we'll come back to point 1. Point 2. Does this need to be?
Yeah, that would need to be, that would need to be tweaked as well, just to.
Okay. We'll deal with a new point 2 at our next meeting. Point 3. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Point 4.
So moved.
Is there support? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously. Point 5.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. I'm sorry, Commissioner Boyd.
Under number 5, or 4, I guess it is, point 4, and point 5, it refers to the board, and yet in previous language, the Board of Water and Light was known as the board. So if this is the Board of Ethics, do we want to spell it out to say the Board of Ethics rather than just the board? Because in previous language, the Board of Water and Light was the board.
Well, I think to be
Sorry.
consistent with other, I'm sorry.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think to be consistent with other sections in the, in this particular chapter, it should say Board of Ethics. Because other sections,
It says,
Thank you.
yeah. But like up here, members of the Board of Ethics. So what you're saying is any.
So I would propose an amendment to this language that says, in each instance where it refers to the board, it will refer to the Board of Ethics
In Chapter 5.
in Chapter 5,
Okay.
under membership. So moved.
Yeah, let me just,
I think it does.
it would be the whole chapter. You'd want-
Yes, we're-
Let's make it for the whole chapter, okay? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Great. And then, did we do point 5?
We were in the middle of the vote.
Okay.
It was-
On point 5, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Passes. Point 6. Is there support? Motion? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Passes. Point 7. It's been moved. Is there support?
Support.
All those in favor say aye. Passes unanimously. 5-503 duties.
And this is where I would have some concern.
Okay.
At the request of a person, the Board of Ethics may render an informal opinion with respect to the prospective conduct of such person. That's where I think we need to clean up the language a little bit. So, because I know that an opinion was given and instructions were given to the person in question, and there was no enforcement of the ruling.
I think
So-
let's go down
Go down,
just a
yeah,
little
okay.
bit further. I think we might pick up something down
Okay.
there. Point 1, is there support? Commissioner Washington.
Can we wait on that, on number 1, until
Sure.
we see, because I agree with Commissioner Adam Simon that we have to have some teeth in
Yeah,
this.
okay. Point 2. So you want to wait on all of this until we?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay.
Just review and come back with.
Okay, so point 4. May recommend a council standards. Enforcement of those standards. So is it council that's supposed to enforce this stuff? Is that what you're,
There was no enforcement, so I don't know who was.
well, but under point 4,
Mhm.
is it council's responsibility
It
to?
is the council's responsibility, but it was against another council member.
Well, but if we're talking about enforcement,
Right.
we've got a provision here that says council will enforce it, but they're not enforcing it.
Correct.
Well, yeah, Commissioner Washington.
But how does that fit in if it doesn't involve council? Why would council be enforcing discipline or direction to
Of an
someone
employee.
an employee, someone in the mayor's cabinet?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they have that authority to do that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, I think section point 3 is the one that really
That's-
kind of delineates what the
We
Board
did.
of Ethics can do. I guess, Kristen, I guess, do you have any ideas in terms of, have you dealt with other boards of ethics in other municipalities?
I have not dealt with other boards of ethics. No.
All right, why don't we come back to this whole section? Yeah, and then see if we can figure out something in terms of, it talks about everything they can do. It just comes up to the point of, is there going to be enforcement? Commissioner, or, sorry, Clerk Swope.
And the complaint, this is talking about rendering an informal opinion upon the request of a person. The complaints portion that I talked about is actually in city ordinance, so I don't know if you want to elevate that to the charter. Because that's, I think, where the enforcement that Commissioner Adam Simon is talking about is relative to complaints.
Okay, why don't we look at that
Yeah.
and see if it's appropriate to put it in the charter or not?
I think we need to be concerned about point 3, though, where we don't have authority to reverse or modify a prior action of the mayor, city council, or an officer or employee of the city. So if we see that they acted unethically, we can't do anything about it, although we found that they were, yeah, it was in vain.
Well, it just says that you should advise the appropriate party or parties that the action should be reconsidered.
But it also says we can seek outside counsel as well, earlier.
Okay. All right, let's come back to that. All right, 5-504, protection of public interest, point 1. So is this included in the ordinance that you were referring to, Chris? Point 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Does pass. Oh, and then point 2. Okay. So that again is the ordinance that you're referring to. All right, all those in favor, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. So point 3 is the penalty section. You're just saying that it's never been imposed?
No.
Okay.
And I don't think this is saying the Board of Ethics has the power to do that. I think it's saying that other provisions.
Okay. All right, well,
So, yeah.
all right. Is there support for this? It's been moved, supported. All those in favor say aye. Passes. Okay, conflict of interest, 5-505.1.
So moved.
Is there support? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Point 2.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes. Point 3. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Chapter 6, 5-601, Planning Board. Show, right, yeah. Why don't we do this? We'll go through and make all the changes from, is there a motion to change from Planning Board to Planning Commission? It's been moved. Is there
Second.
support? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And this is for the entire Chapter 6. All those opposed? It passes unanimously. Should we do this for the entire charter? Are there other, I think there are other provisions in the charter that talk about the planning board.
There could be, yeah.
So that motion should include not only Chapter 6, but the entire charter. Is that everybody's understanding? Perfect, okay. So point 1, there shall be a planning commission. It's moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes. Point 2, members of the planning commission shall be appointed pursuant to section 5-103.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. We still had some outstanding issues there, though, right? Yeah.
Well,
Do we want to come back to that?
they'll have to, yeah, because
All
we
right.
haven't decided how we're going to.
Yeah, let's come back to point 2. Point 3, I'm sorry, Commissioner Washington.
Council does not do their committee appointments on July 1st. I think that we
Oh.
should consider changing that date to February 1st or January 2nd or whatever to coincide with when they make their committee appointments.
Clerk's will.
And further, the council does not make them, the council president makes them.
Sure.
All right, why don't we come up with cleanup language for that for our next meeting then? So that will include, instead of
Council
city
president.
council, council president, and then what was the date, Commissioner Washington? Or
They make their appointments at the.
First meeting.
By the second meeting, by the first meeting after they're elected as president.
So we can just reference the section where they, okay, great. All right, 602, powers and duties. Point 1. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes. Point 2.
So moved. No, so we changed it to Economic Development and Planning Commission.
Oh, planning department. This is the department. Yeah, that's not. The planning board would be the planning commission.
All right.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye. Passes. Point 3. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes. And then point 4.
Oh, she has a question.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Anderson.
How often is the capital improvement plan completed? Is it annually or every, okay. Can we add that in there? Because it doesn't say like the frequency of the capital improvement plan.
I thought there was language in there that's updated once a year, something like that.
It's part of the budget process.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Annual budget.
Point 4. Commissioner Washington.
Does Planning Commission actually develop the master plan?
I think they,
I think we should find out before
Okay.
we pass this.
all right, so we'll come back to point 3 at our next meeting.
Do you want to add the word planning to that? So it's not just the board, the planning
Commission. The board commission.
the plan.
So you're asking us for point 3 and point 4?
Just
Just point
Just
four,
point
because
four.
I'm not sure they developed the master plan.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't believe they do, but okay, we'll check that out. Okay. All right. Commissioner Lopez.
Yep, I know we went through this already, but it says we should have a planning board, right? And then it says the planning shall review and make recommendations on the economic development and planning department draft. So we're having the planning board and the economic development and planning department, which exists right now, right?
Yes.
So for the future, it may not be economic and planning department if another mayor comes and changes it around.
Right.
So I guess I'm just questioning if we should have any name to it other than the planning entity
Yep.
of that
I think
board.
that we could add some general language that talks about, how all of these departments, it's not just planning, it's all of them, that in the future, these things can change. So it'd be as it exists now, or maybe we can get some language that can deal with that.
Right.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we are done with our review for tonight. Public comment.
We do. We have Randy Dykheis.
So I do hope you have not forgotten about the Sustainability Advisory Board. So I hope this is really the end of Chapter 5, and that you're going to come back and take that up at some point. The other thing was the section that talked about the mayor making appointments by May and the council approving it June. That doesn't happen. Never has happened as long as I've been paying attention to this. And you guys have often, in most other times where you've had days that you said, does this happen? If it doesn't happen, why? But you didn't do that tonight. So I might ask you to take a look at that, because I think it's really important that the mayor does make those appointments in that time frame. Because as you say, if those appointments aren't made, the boards aren't filled, and the existing members go on and on and on. So I think it's important that you might want to go back and take a look at that. And Section 5-106.2, I think that really gives the boards some power. I hope that you don't change that. Because when it says, that city departments have to go to the board and talk to the board and get the board's opinion before they do something and make a change, I think that's really important. And that may give residents more incentive to actually want to serve on a board because they're actually doing something. They're contributing in a very real way and having some power over what happens in their city. And then lastly, very minor, on the planning board, 5602.3, where it says the draft of the capital improvement plan. Capital that you have there references the building across the street, so you may want to change that to that O to an A, so it talks about things that are built in the city. So that's my comments.
Thank you. Next, we have Fred McLaughlin.
Okay, I've got my tax papers filed, so got a little bit of time now. Just an observation, I was planning on going to one of the commission meetings. I won't mention it, that's not my point. And I got to the meeting and it had been canceled, and then I looked elsewhere, somewhere online, and it said there was no agenda. And And I don't know if this is something that could show up in the charter or not, but I'd like you to give it some thought and see if there could never be a cancellation of a meeting, but rather that meeting might be really valuable as an opportunity for the public to interact with the people who make up the board and really get to know the people. You know, I don't know, I haven't thought far enough ahead to say, you know, what kind of format it would be, how rigorous, you know, how formal or relaxed. It just seemed like a good idea to invite people to actually engage with people, so it's not you folks there and us back here. So maybe I'm talking about a less formal format. But if not, make use of that time. I mean, I'm sure the members of the board are sort of anticipating it, and it just seemed like it might be a useful idea. Also, I still, and I'm not sure if this was well received before, but I still feel like some things are cart before the horse. What I mean by that, for example, the naming of the planning department, which for me is sufficient. But it gets named the Economic Development and Planning Department. It's really, for one thing, it's redundant. Anyone who is doing a development and putting money at risk and also the ideas at risk, they know how to get a project going. They don't need the extra, you know, in my opinion, pandering of trying to, you know, get people to come to the city. If the city's doing proper planning, it'll appeal to people to do projects. You don't need to bend over backward, and so I guess that's all I have to say tonight. So, thank you much.
Thank you. I believe that was our last speaker.
That's our last speaker, yep.
Okay, so it's now commissioner remarks time. I'm not hearing any. We're adjourned.
Still muted. I know.
I don't.